From Mark Sullivan claiming that his swirling sand machine could bring a lot of gold, to Scott Jordan telling the sharks that they're out, these are the Shark Tank pitches that are so embarrassing. Shark Tank always brings us some crazy stuff, but the Sullivan generator takes the cake for the wildest idea ever on the show. Mark Sullivan, the founder and owner, claimed that this machine could turn hurricanes into gold. It's a portable power generator that runs on solar energy. So instead of using gas like the usual generators, it's all about the sun's power. You can take it with you on camping trips or when you need emergency power, since it's designed to be easy to use and can withstand different weather conditions. But it turned out that Sullivan didn't actually have a working prototype of the machine, and all he had was a conceptual drawing to show the sharks. Yet, he asked them for a whopping $1 million in exchange for just 10% of his generator. He went on about how it works, mentioning the Coriolis effect, claiming that it could create electricity from water, leaving behind over $96 billion worth of gold. It's safe to say that the sharks were confused, and some of them even thought it was pure BS. Damon had no clue what was going on, so he bowed out, and Kevin asked Mark how long he'd even been on Earth, which was such a burn. Barbara followed suit and left too. The sharks were all confused, and while Kevin and Robert tried to wrap their heads around the machine, Mark Cuban thought it was all nonsense and decided to pass. The funny part is, Robert tried to salvage the situation by offering to put in $50,000 if Kevin would invest the remaining $950,000. Well, guess what? O'Leary turned down the offer without even thinking twice. After the pitch, Damon John shared his thoughts on the whole thing, saying that he went home and put some sand in a blender. But it didn't give him a fancy pink ring, so the idea was just absurd. The Sullivan generator turned out to be nothing more than a wild idea that didn't go anywhere. No gold made from sand, no investment, just a bunch of sharks shaking their heads in disbelief. After Shark Tank, it did manage to generate $10 million, which is quite impressive. But that was it. No one else jumped on board, and it's unclear what the net worth of the company is now. Honestly, it's hard to imagine this idea going anywhere, let alone becoming a real product. There's a website for it, but not much else. The sharks look at a bunch of things when they check out a business: if the business idea makes sense, has any big risks, if it can compete in the market, and whether the entrepreneur can actually make it happen. Sullivan Generator obviously didn't meet the mark, and neither did this next one. Back in 2015, Aaron McDaniel went on Shark Tank to pitch his company Tycoon Real Estate, looking for $50,000 for a 5% share of his company. The idea behind Tycoon was to create an online platform where people could invest in real estate projects, even if they didn't have a lot of money or experience. During the pitch, the sharks had their doubts, with Mark Cuban being the first to say he was out, since he was concerned about the risks for inexperienced investors. Hershevek and the other sharks had the same doubts, questioning the platform and potential conflicts of interest. Kevin pointed out that there were already real estate investment trusts that allowed people to invest in real estate easily, so why was this new product even needed? McDaniel argued that his platform was more exciting than REITs, but that didn't impress anyone. Barbara, the real estate expert, knew all about the importance of knowing the lead investor in any deal, so she didn't think Tycoon provided enough information for investors, and she was right. Tycoon Real Estate faced major backlash after the show, and the company eventually shut down. McDaniel tried to generate interest, but nothing worked out. The website isn't active anymore either. The former contestant has since moved on to a new venture called Access Investors Network, where he created a mobile app for potential investors and continues to pursue his dreams even after what happened with Tycoon Real Estate. McDaniel's company didn't last long after going on Shark Tank, but this next one has defied all odds. Not only is it super interesting, but it actually went on to be a big success after getting rejected by those sharks. PDX Pet Design is a company that makes fun stuff for grooming cats, and you might have even seen their products online. They've two popular products called the Licky Brush and Shrew. The Licky Brush is a brush that looks like a cat's tongue and is held in a person's mouth, while Shrew is a cool egg-shaped toy with a feathery tail. The founders of PDX Pet Design are Tara and Jason O'Mara from Portland, Oregon, who went on Shark Tank in 2017, hoping to get a $300,000 investment in exchange for 15% of their company. Before Shark Tank, PDX Pet Design had some success with their Shrew cat toy through a Kickstarter campaign. They raised over $170,000, which was way more than their initial goal of $15,000. During their pitch, Tara and Jason wore fluffy dog ears and talked about their love for cats. They introduced their products, explaining how they wanted to improve the bond between cats and their owners. They showcased the Licky Brush by demonstrating it on a cat, which made the sharks laugh. They also presented Shrew as a toy that keeps cats entertained when their owners are away. The sharks had mixed reactions, with some finding it amusing, but not seeing a big market for it. Tara and Jason mentioned their sales figures, with Shrew selling $250,000 worth and Licky Brush selling $52,000, while talking about their future plans and how they believed their products would go viral. But the sharks had concerns about the valuation and the high asking price, feeling that PDX Pet Design didn't have enough sales to justify the $2 million valuation. In the end, none of the sharks made a deal, and PDX Pet Design didn't get the investment they were seeking. Despite not getting a deal, PDX Pet Design is still in business and has only continued to grow. In 2022, their annual revenue was around $200,000, and they've got an active presence on social media after expanding their product line. Although the Licky Brush pitch on Shark Tank was seen as unusual and funny, PDX Pet Design has managed to maintain a strong brand, popular in the niche market of boutique pet grooming products. While some may not have seen anyone arguing with the sharks, this next one will totally blow your mind. Scott Jordan, the guy who came up with technology-enabled clothing, or tech, and the Scotty Vest clothing line, had a very interesting time on Shark Tank. When Scott went on the show, he was pitching his tech technology and wanted to license it to other brands. He asked for $500K for a 15% stake, valuing tech at $7.5 million. He even had a Scotty vest on to show how the tech technology works, but that business wasn't part of the deal. But the sharks wanted to know more about Scotty Vest, since it was bringing in most of the money from the tech patent, and it got intense, with Mark Cuban attacking Scott for getting a patent on such an obvious idea. Things got heated, and Scott ended up telling Kevin and Robert that they're out. After the show, he even had some Twitter fights with Mark. That's some real drama. Some people thought Scott was arrogant and never wanted to make a deal, while others saw him standing up to the sharks and not giving in to their demands. They thought he was protecting his business, and I gotta admit, it takes guts to stand your ground on national TV. What's even more shocking is that even after the backlash from the internet, technology-enabled clothing is still in business and has grown a lot since Shark Tank. They now sell pants and shorts online, and people seem to love it. Robert and Kevin even showed some interest in the product and made offers to invest in the company, but nothing came out of it. Guess it was too late, because Jordan was already dreaming of bigger things. So there you have it. From Scott Jordan telling the sharks that they're out, to Mark Sullivan claiming that his swirling sand machine could bring a lot of gold, those were the Shark Tank pitches that were so embarrassing.